what's going on, you guys? Welcome back to the channel ANDERZÉN. Today we're going to be swapping out the thermostat on the W124 and possibly get to the valve body if we have time. It is a super wet and rainy day out, so what better time to spend time in the garage and try to get something done on the E400. So we'll see how much we can get done. I have a box of parts here I'll show you guys. I have the extra valve body. I have a power steering filter, the 90-degree hose for the thermostat housing, the thermostat gasket for the upper part of the water pump, and I think that's an extra coolant reservoir cap. So I have a bunch of parts for the W124, and I'm just going to slowly start knocking stuff out by kind of what's most pivotal or important at the time. So lately, you guys saw in the last video with this car when we did the LH module swap, the thermostat is just lazy. It takes forever to get warm, especially on like the first start of the day. So we need to address that because it's not good to have a car running, at full speed and everything constantly while the coolant's down. If you're not pushing on it, then it's not going to do much, but it's just not that good to not have the coolant circulating at the proper temperature all the time. So we need to take care of that. That is number one in the mission. If it goes fast, fingers crossed. I don't know, sometimes easy jobs like that end up taking forever. Hopefully I didn't just jinx myself, knock on wood. But if it goes fast, then maybe we could take a look at swapping out that spare valve body to see if that fixes anything with this whole mysterious second gear skip issue that I have. Stop number one before we do any of this, I need to go stop at the auto parts store and grab some Go5 Valvoline. So yeah, see you guys in a second. Also, peeps the nice new Mercedes wiper blade. All right, two things to Go5. I got extra just to have it on hand. I have a couple empty jugs here as well to dispose, and then I got a bigger drain pan. This is like a 16-quart one because we always need a bigger one, so it was on sale. Figured I might as well grab it. I'm quickly getting reminded about working with cold hands once the weather gets colder. I'm not as excited about doing jobs on the cars once the weather gets cold, so we got to take care of this stuff quick so I'm not fighting cold hands in the winter. All right guys, so proof our thermostat is just not working properly. We've been driving for probably 15-20 minutes now and we're not even close to operating temp yet. Well, about halfway there, but it's 40 degrees out. That doesn't help much, but still this should be getting up to temp a lot faster than that. So almost there. All right guys, so I'm letting the car cool down for just a second here, and in the meantime, hello. Sorry. That's okay. In the meantime, I figured I would replace this power steering fluid filter. All you got to do is press down on this. It's spring loaded, and then this is a 10mm bolt. So undo that, and then you can take off the plastic portion that's holding down the filter. Take that up, grab the filter, swap to the new one. All right, there are the components that you'll take out: spring, plastic portion, and the nut. And here's the old filter. It's a man filter. Doesn't look too incredibly bad. Doesn't look bad at all, really, but I don't know. Don't know when it's been changed, so easy enough to swap it in. This is a Hungst one off FCP, so same. Pretty simple filter, same design. This one actually has the metal core with the dots in it. This one doesn't, so a little bit different design. But yeah, don't know how old this is, so like I said, easy enough to just throw in. All right, so there is a new filter in. This nut can only go so far. The rod is only threaded to a certain spot, so once you feel it stop going, you don't need to tighten it very tight at all because it's going to have the cap sitting on top of it screwed down as well. And as far as fluid goes, looks like we lost a little bit. I'll show you guys what I use. I know it's not the recommended stuff, but it's what I use, and I've had fine experience with it. So some people might light me up for this, but honestly, it's worked absolutely fine for me. So I use Valvoline. This is a higher mileage one because I guarantee the steering box is definitely seeping from different places, so it's not going to hurt to have a little bit of stop leak in there. The consistency, the color, everything is the exact same as the MB factory fluid that I have. So, you know, no harm for me adding this in. I actually added some in September. I noticed it was a little bit low and I was getting a little bit of groaning in the system, and added it back then. It's now November and it hasn't leaked at all, and power steering is working wonderfully. So yeah, no qualms about this fluid, even though I know it's not what the factory recommends. So I'll go ahead and top this up a little bit. It looks like we are, we might be okay actually. I'll put a little bit in, tiny bit, and cap this up. All right, so I put the fluid up a bit. It's just kind of at that max 20 Celsius mark. That's about 68 degrees for Fahrenheit people. And right now, I felt it with my finger and it was probably around the 60-degree range. So we're at a good time to measure accurately. So I will leave it there, should be good, and I'll just check on it in a few days to top up if needed. The other thing I noticed is this gasket for the cap is definitely on its last leg, so I'm gonna need to get a new one of those. All right, that out of the way, let's go ahead and move on. Today, what we'll be replacing is the thermostat located right here, and this portion of the hose, 90-degree hose. That one honestly looks probably pretty tired. The one I have looks small, honestly, comparing it to that, so hopefully I got the right piece. And then I do have the junkyard expansion tank. The only problem is it looks like it may have the same exact split that my current one has that somebody tried to fix at some point. So who knows if this actually holds, but I figure if we're gonna drain everything, it might be worth trying it out. And you know, if this doesn't work, then I will just, you know, buy the proper replacement, a new one. But I figured, you know, it could be better than this, potentially. So we'll see how much time this other stuff takes, and if I want to even try swapping that one in, since it's not a new one, might not even be worth it. But yeah, let's get the thermostat out. I need to drain from the petcock on the radiator, and I'll show you guys that process. All right, so double checking that 90-degree elbow. I know this is the right part number, so if you need this, there it is for you, 119-203-020 or 0282. This is made by Evaplast out of Germany, or Elaplast, I can't remember. But these were like super hard to find, and all the other ones that I found were gonna take forever to get here. So I got that one off eBay. So yeah, this one just looks like it's swelled up and old, so should be the proper thing. It looks like a couple clamps on it, and then these look like 10 millimeters probably, and there's 3 of them. That back one is a little tricky to get to, so we're gonna need to drain everything, try to get as much out as we can, and then get that 90-degree off to get that last one out. So fingers crossed. The other thing I keep forgetting to mention, and let me get a light so you guys can see this, is I've noticed a bit of weepage, you guys can see right there, out of the upper gasket on the water pump. So I am going to replace that as well. I have that right there. I don't know if there's a part number on this or not, but I can link it down below. But yeah, I've noticed a little bit of seepage there. All right guys, I got the petcock draining right now. I used a little tool like this, something, because it's a pretty tight angle right up against the bumper right here, but you can see it right there. It's pretty clever actually. It drains from the side, not actually where the petcock is. So some of them I've seen, they actually drain like where the petcock is, and it makes it kind of a pain to drain it cleanly. But yeah, this one's doing well. I'm gonna go ahead and loosen it a bit more by hand in a second, and get it to flow a little faster. So far though, coolant looks clear, so that's a good sign. So I'm gonna keep this going. All right guys, coolant drain. Luckily I didn't make too much of a mess actually. It's fairly straightforward. Just got the 90-degree elbow off. I was struggling with it for a bit, but then I actually just, after I undid the clamps, I just grabbed it with a pair of needle nose and kind of squeezed it right in the center section. And then doing that, I was able to just basically pull it up. I was trying to get like the top portion off first. You can see I was thinking about cutting it there for a second, but ended up just grabbing it like this, put a little pressure, and the bottom popped right off. Make sure you get the clamps loose enough so that they can make it off of the lip. There's a lip on both ends, so yeah, want to make sure they can slide over that easy. So I'll keep those handy. There's my new one. And it looks like the more flared end is going to go towards the top, I believe. I don't know if it would matter necessarily, but it does look like the top portion is maybe a little bit bigger diameter. Could be wrong. Maybe it could go either direction, but yeah. Next up, getting those 3 bolts on the thermostat housing. All right, all 3 of those bolts are out right there. And here's what I used. So yeah, I ended up using the little 1/4 inch with the swivel and 10 millimeter. And then for the other ones, just regular 3/8 and a long 10 millimeter. So let's go ahead and try to pry this thing off of there. Probably gonna get a little bit more coolant come out because I didn't do the engine drain block, which I could have, or engine block drain, but that's okay. We'll make a little bit of mess and yeah, get this thing back in order. All right, came off without too much of a fight. Just kind of pried on the opening portion with a screwdriver for a second and it popped right off, and luckily not much coolant at all. Just a small dribble there, as you can see, is still going on. I'm gonna go ahead and clean the inside portion of that off definitely. But here's the old versus new. A little bit different styles as far as like the hats on them go. That's also because this one looks like it's stuck open or closed. I don't know. Closed? I don't know. But anyways, they line up perfectly, same diameters, proper. There's the old gasket. It was very squared and tired. There's a new one, should be like an O-ring style, but this one is pretty much square and stuck on the lip of this. So a little bit of cleaning up to do around the lip of that and throw the new one in. I don't know if the orientation of like the little floating ball matters, but it was sitting in the car like that, so I'm gonna put it back in the same direction. I'm sure that probably doesn't matter, but you know, put it back how I found it pretty much. And yeah, I will go ahead and clean these parts up and then get ready to put everything back together. All right guys, so that is back in there. I don't really have any words of advice as far as getting this elbow on, other than be prepared for a bit of a fight. I tried many different methods, and in the end, pretty much brute force is what got it on, thanks to my stepdad stepping in, because I was not really enjoying what was going on. So I asked him to try it out, and by the same methods I was trying brute force, he got it on. So shout out to Mike, as always. But yeah, you basically just got to flex it into place and try to get one side on as the same, or at the same time as the other, and just kind of like wiggle them back and forth until you get them on. But not easy. The bottom has like a little bit of a step on it, so I think that should be okay. Like there's plenty for the clamps to grab onto, but yeah, I'll tighten that bottom one up a little bit more, and then we got to fill up the system. All right, this car is back on the ground now, and time to start filling up some coolant. Once we get it somewhat full, I'll go ahead and start it and let it kind of bleed out a little bit from this side. I don't think you have to do like the you know, full bleeding procedure when you only do something like this, but if you're going to, you know, actually flush the system, then I think there's a specific bleeding method that you need for the M119. So anyways, we'll see what happens. Let's go ahead and fill it up and go from there. I'm not even gonna mess with doing the reservoir or that upper gasket right now because I'm just gonna buy a new one. I don't wanna mess around and have that one do the same thing that this one did. So once I get the new one, I will also replace that gasket for the top portion. So don't really have to worry much about it. I mean, it's not leaking like some extraordinary amount. And that will at least get rid of, you know, I'll get a good amount of new coolant in the system right now. And then whenever I do that portion, I'll get even more. So it'll kind of be like flushing. And I'll probably drain the engine blocks whenever I do that. All right, I got almost a gallon back in the reservoir. So let's go ahead and start it up now and I can add as needed. So coolant light on instantly, definitely. Let's go check things out. All right, no leaks. That's good. All right, it's only been about 3 or so minutes of idling, maybe 5 minutes at most, and we're almost at the temp, so that is a very good sign. The coolant light is most likely just because the system got tripped, and that light has been kind of finicky anyways, because I'm sure the sensor is not great on the reservoir. So that will go away. I'm not worried about that. But yeah, things are looking good. I can definitely add some more coolant. So all right guys, level is topped up. The fan has kicked on a couple of times, which is good from sitting. Temperatures are looking stable. Coolant light's still on, but I'm not worried about that, like I said. So I will clean that connector off or reset the system after I drive it around and make sure everything's good. But seems like job is done. So got new power steering filter and got that system at least halfway kind of resurrected. More to come on the cooling system later on, but this will do for now. All right guys, just got back home. Everything went smooth on the way home, so good. Fan just kicked on. I was letting the car basically just sit and idle until it got up to our 90-degree mark for the fans to be able to kick on. That's from our resistor trick, so if you guys haven't seen that video, you can go back and check it out, or check out SoCal 210's videos. That's the one I learned it from. So yeah, it's just bringing it back down to around the 80 plus mark right there, and then the fans will shut off, and it looks like they just did. So it's running good. Coolant level seemed to be fine. I'll go ahead and reset that light so it's not on anymore. The oil light, as you guys know, is just the thing that's on the car from the lower harness. The lower harness, I think, is the issue that goes on with the coolant light as well. So that is something I am on the hunt for, but it looks like I'm not gonna be able to find one anyway, so I'll be making my own, it looks like, as far as the lower harness goes. Well, anyways, that'll go ahead and about do it for this one. Thank you guys for watching. Appreciate it. Leave a comment, like, subscribe, and I will see you on the next one. Peace.